Today we're going to make the CiCi Defender. Hello and welcome back. My name is Melissa and I am with Sew Yours. I design sewing patterns for bag making. I also sell hardware, zippers, sewing notions, and much more on my website at sewyours.com. So I've done a separate introductory video on the CiCi Defender, all of the benefits of this bag, the hardware, the interfacings, and the fabrics that I recommend for your CiCi Defender. I'll go ahead and leave a link in the description box below so you guys can check that out. But I do quickly want to go over what the CiCi Defender is because it is a special bag. I went ahead and designed this pattern because I wanted women to have the ability to protect themselves but be able to carry a cute handbag while they're doing that. So that is how the CiCi Defender was born. So let me show you what I'm talking about. On the back side of this bag, we have a concealed carry compartment. It is an ambidextrous pocket. So we've got two zippers on both sides, and this goes straight through the bag, as you can see right there. Inside of that pocket, there is the option to go ahead and add some soft-sided loop Velcro if you're choosing to go ahead and carry a Velcro holster. If you're not going to be carrying any kind of holster, then you can go ahead and just leave that loop Velcro out. The Velcro can be inserted on the inside wall or the outside wall of the pocket. If you're planning on selling your CiCi Defender or giving it as a gift, it's a good idea to go ahead and put the Velcro on both sides of the pocket because you don't know if the person is going to be carrying it on their left shoulder, right shoulder, if they're left-handed or right-handed. The beauty of this bag and the concealed carry compartment is that you can actually go ahead and open up this pocket, slide your hand in, and when you're walking to your car, you can go ahead and have a little bit more of a peace of mind when you are walking because you are going to be able to access your personal protection items quickly and easily in the event that you need to do so. This bag is not only for people who CiCi. This bag is also great if you want to keep any of your personal items close to your body because you can go ahead and store your passport, your cell phone, your wallet, or any other items close to your body and not have to worry about getting pickpocketed. It is virtually impossible to tell that there's even zippers here on the side of the bag. So that is the beauty of this particular design right here. I've completely covered the zippers with the fabric. Okay, so if you don't CiCi and you're not planning on carrying your phone or your wallet in that back pocket, what else could we use this back pocket for? Well, this pocket is great for concealing anything from your kids, such as candy or any other items that you don't want them to know that you have or give them access to. I am now selling lockable zipper pulls, so you guys can go ahead and install these locking zipper pulls. They lock with a key, and you can keep those keys on your keychain, and that way no one has access to your concealed carry pocket. So that is a great benefit, and you guys can go ahead and purchase those zipper pulls on my website at sewyours.com. So let's just jump on in and start sewing up our CiCi Defender. This is the beautiful bag that we are making in the video today. Okay, we're going to talk about all of the pattern pieces that make up the CiCi Defender. I did want to show you our pattern map, which we do include in our most recent patterns. This is going to show you how you need to piece together any pattern pieces that require taping down the center. What's nice about this pattern is I've gone ahead and made full pattern pieces. You don't have to cut on the fold for anything. You also don't have to cut any mirrored pattern pieces. I've included individual pattern pieces for the mirrored. So for example, these two right here are separate pattern pieces. I know personally when I am cutting a pattern out that requires mirrored pattern pieces, I tend to mess it up and evidently always cut two of the same exact piece instead of mirroring it. So you guys don't have to worry about that with this. Another benefit for this pattern is that I have included pattern pieces for every single piece with the exception of the crossbody strap, the zipper ends, and your binding, which you can either buy or cut your own binding. Everything else includes a pattern piece, which even includes straight pieces such as your slip and zipper pocket pieces. But if you'd like to go ahead and cut by measurement, we do have our cutting guide that shows all of the measurements, but I've also put the measurements on the pattern pieces themselves, so you can go ahead and cut any straight pieces by measurement if that's what you prefer to do. Our pattern pieces that require joining together are also color coded, so each piece is a different color from the other, so it makes it really easy to go ahead and piece together. I've got a black and white printer, so that's why the color's not showing up on the pattern map. Okay, so let me talk about what I recommend as far as fabrics for your CiCi Defender. You do need some sort of non-fraying fabric for a couple of the pattern pieces on this pattern. For example, your handle overlay, it is written so that you do need a non-fraying fabric. However, I am going to show you later in today's video how you can go ahead and use a quilting cotton piece to make your handle if you'd like to do that instead. You also would need a non-fraying fabric for your zipper overlay right here. But if you know how to do the zipper facing method, then you could use quilting cotton for your bag. Another item that would require non-fraying fabric is the slip pocket trim right here, but that can be modified easily, and you could just make your slip pocket without the trim if you know how to do that. So, like I said, non-fraying fabric for those pieces, unless you know how to make those alterations yourself. I did make a CiCi Defender, like I am going to show you here in the video, with all quilting cotton, except I did just use the non-fraying fabric for the zipper overlay and the slip pocket trim. So it can be done if that's something that you want to do. I do recommend sticking with a quilting cotton for your center panel here on the front, as well as the back, especially if you're working on a domestic machine. It can get a little bit of bulky along these edges right here on the CiCi pocket, so you might want to stick with quilting cotton there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start off by talking about the exterior front. All of my patterns include these little tabs, so you can keep all of your pattern pieces organized. They reference the pattern letter, the pattern name, and what you actually need to cut out. So here I have my pocket flap, and this is pattern piece B. I've got my pocket flap stabilizer, which is pattern piece B1. Now, I indicate in the pattern to not iron on your stabilizer until I direct you to do so within the pattern. I have gone ahead and done some of the prep work for myself here. We'll explain how you do that later on in the video. So here is my faux suede, like vinyl fabric for my exterior. I've got my stabilizer, which is B1, on the back of it. And then I have my lining piece. All quilting cotton pieces need to have some sort of woven interfacing on them. I am using my So Woven fusible interfacing that I sell on my website for all of my quilting cotton pieces. So the flap is this piece right here, and there is the lining. The next thing we have here is our slip pocket. So let's go over all the pieces that make up the slip pocket, which is this piece right here, the lower portion. So let's go ahead and unclip these. The first thing here, we have our front exterior left side pattern piece F. We only need one exterior of that. We have our front exterior right side, which is H. Again, just one exterior. We have pattern piece D. That is our front exterior slip pocket. You're going to need one exterior, which I've got in quilting cotton right there. Then I have my stabilizer piece. That is going to be, let's see here, pattern piece J1, so my stabilizer. And then I have my slip pocket lining. That is pattern piece J. We will iron on the stabilizer later whenever we construct the exterior front of our slip pocket. And here we have our front exterior and lining pieces. So this is the exterior portion, and that is pattern piece A. We also have A1, which is our stabilizer. Again, don't iron your stabilizer on until I direct you to do so later. Got a bunch of little pieces of fabric all over the back here to pick off. So there is A and A1. And to show you on the bag, A is this piece right here. So that is our exterior front. Let's move on to our exterior back. Here's our back exterior, which has the concealed carry pocket right here. And you can see inside of there, hopefully, that I have some Velcro in there. That is an optional step. If you plan to use a Velcro holster in your bag, or you're planning on selling this as a CiCi bag, with the intention of using a Velcro holster for your customers, then I do recommend adding Velcro to your CiCi pocket. If you're going to use your CiCi pocket just to store your phone, your wallet, anything that you want to keep closest to you and kind of incognito, then you don't need the Velcro. You can skip that step. So on my back exterior, I'll go over these pieces. You're going to need one exterior for your back exterior left side. You're going to need one exterior piece for your back exterior right side. You're going to need 2 zippers that are number 5, and these are already cut exactly to 8 5/8 of an inch. I am now selling locking zipper pulls, so I'll put a video clip in here so you can see how those work. So if you'd like to have your concealed carry compartment lockable, then you can go ahead and do that. And those locking zipper pulls work on any number 5 zipper, and you can use them for any project that you want. It doesn't actually have to be for a concealed carry compartment. Anywhere you want it to stay secure, great for backpacks, for traveling, so no one can sneak in there and open up your zipper pocket. So that is a great addition to the CiCi Defender or any bag that you want to keep secured. Okay, so here we have our CiCi pocket itself, and that is pattern piece I. You need one exterior and one lining piece. So I've got mine, and I've made those both in quilting cotton. And then you're going to have pattern piece I1, which is your CiCi pocket stabilizer. Again, don't iron that on until I direct you to do so later. And to point that out, that is this piece right here, which we end up folding. So we've got the exterior right here and the lining on the side right here. Then this is the back exterior center piece. That is pattern piece C. You need one exterior, which I have right here. Now, if you're choosing to do the Velcro, you are going to need a piece of Velcro. This is 4 inches by 4 inches. If you can't get the 4-inch wide Velcro in your area, then you can go ahead and do 2 pieces of 2-inch wide, and then you're just going to stack them together. And then another thing to point out is you can choose to have your CiCi pocket have the Velcro on the inner wall, which is right here, the inside wall, which is this pattern piece right here. Or you can also have the option to put it on the outside wall, which is this pattern piece right here, the CiCi pocket lining. Or you can choose to have it on both of those. Now, why would you want it on both? Well, if you're planning on selling your CiCi Defender, your customers may carry their bag on their left shoulder, the right shoulder, that might be left-handed or right-handed. So the placement of where they're going to put their holster in is going to vary. So you might want to go ahead and put a 4-inch by 4-inch piece here. In addition, another 4-inch by 4-inch piece here. Today, I'm only going to be applying it to my back exterior center piece, and I chose the black color because that was the closest to my fabric. They also sell white, and I'm sure you can get other colors as well. I usually just stock the black and the white for myself personally. So that is the CiCi pocket. Oh, and then we have here our zipper ends. You need 4 of those. And the zipper ends, you're probably not even going to be able to see them, but they're up at the top and the bottom of each zipper. So top and bottom on the left and top and bottom on the right. And stick with a quilting cotton for that. Okay, moving on to the lining. Here I have one of my lining panels, which is pattern piece A. And for the lining panel that is going to have the zipper pocket on it, we do need to go ahead and eventually iron on some stabilizer. So this is my A1 stabilizer piece. Don't do that until I direct you to do so later. And the reason that we're ironing it onto the lining is because it's too difficult to go ahead and iron this on to this particular exterior back piece with the zippers and everything in place. It all is the same difference if we have it on the lining. So we're going to go ahead and have that ironed onto the lining. Here is our slip. This one is actually our zipper lining pocket. That is pattern piece K. We have our zipper overlay. That is pattern piece L. I've already added my double-sided tape. I'll tell you about that later. And then you're going to need your 8.5-inch zipper. That can be number 3 or number 5. I'm using number 5 today, and I got my zipper pull. Here's the opposite lining panel. So again, pattern piece A. This one does not get any stabilizer. Then we have our slip pocket pattern piece K right here. And we have our slip pocket trim. That is pattern piece M. And I've already prepped that out. We'll talk about that later. So this is our zipper panel, which runs along the top portion of the bag right here. And you have the front zipper panel, pattern piece P. You're going to need one exterior and one lining piece. And that is going to be this little zipper panel right here in the front of the bag. And then we're going to talk about the back zipper panel, which is right here. And that is pattern piece Q. You need one exterior and one lining. You also need pattern piece Q1, which is our stabilizer piece. Don't iron that until I tell you to do so. And then you're going to need your main zipper. I think that's 15 3/4 inch long. And I recommend 2 zipper pulls, but you can do 1 if you'd like. And I do recommend number 5 zipper tape. Here is our gusset. And our gusset is pattern piece R. You're going to need one exterior and you're going to need one lining piece. In addition, we're going to have pattern piece R1, which is our gusset stabilizer, and pattern piece R2, which is our bottom stabilizer. All right, and the last pieces that we are going to need is our crossbody strap, which I've already prepped out here. I'm not going to show you how to make a crossbody strap. It's standard. It's just a regular 1 inch wide crossbody strap. If you want to learn how to make the crossbody strap, check out my most recent video on the Kiki crossbody. I go in detail on how to make the strap and add the hardware, so you guys can check that video out. Here is our handle, which is pattern piece N. I've already prepped that out. I'll explain that later. And we have our handle overlay. Now, like I mentioned before, the pattern is written to use non-fraying fabric, but I'm going to show you today how to use quilting cotton. And all I have done here is I have added an inch up to the width here of this pattern piece so that I can go ahead and fold this over by a 1/2 inch to encase those raw edges. I'll explain that later in the video. All right, let's talk about your options for binding. There's several different options that you can do. You could start by making your own bias binding if you'd like. I've tried that once. I'll never do it again. Just not worth my time. I personally like using waterproof canvas for my binding, so I've cut that at 1 inch wide. You could go with store-bought bias tape. You want to get the extra wide double fold bias tape. That's a 1/2 inch wide. Or what is very popular, this is one of our best sellers on our website, is our 1 inch wide fold over elastic. These are all of the colors that we have in the matte colors. And we also have a few of our shiny colors remaining. We are phasing these out since the matte colors seem to be the most popular. So you can go with the fold over elastic for your binding if you'd like. Here's all the hardware that you need to make your CiCi Defender. I am selling hardware kits that include all of these pieces right here on our website at sewyours.com. The hardware accommodates a 1 inch wide crossbody strap, so you're going to need 2 snap hooks, a strap slider, and our hardware kits include a wide mouth strap slider, which allows you to use the thicker vinyl in order to get the strap to slide much easier. The hardware kit includes a turn lock, and I do recommend a turn lock because I personally like the look of a turn lock. But if you don't have a turn lock or you don't like installing turn locks, you can go with 2 magnetic snaps. That's perfectly fine. The pattern does include placement markings for the magnetic snaps, 2 D-rings, 4 to 5 purse feet, which are optional, 1 to 2 strap ends, and 10 rivets. In addition, this is optional and the hardware kit does not include these, but you can use a bag tag. I have custom bag tags in several of my finishes. However, I don't have any for the rose gold, so I am using a handmade bag tag. All right, first things first, go ahead and make your crossbody strap. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, I'm not going to show you how to do that. I did film a recent sewing tutorial on the Kiki crossbody where I showed you exactly how to sew up and add your hardware to a crossbody strap just like this. So you guys can check that out. I'll put a link in the description box below. Now we're going to go ahead and work on our CiCi pocket. I've done a little bit of prep work here and I'll explain what I did, but let me make sure you guys get the correct pieces. You need to grab pattern piece E, back exterior left side, pattern piece G, back exterior right side. Grab your two 8 and 5/8 inch zippers and your zipper ends. Go ahead and grab your CiCi pocket, which is pattern piece I, as well as your CiCi pocket stabilizer, which is I1. And I've got the lining as well. And then go ahead and get your pattern piece C, which is your back exterior center. And if you are using Velcro, go ahead and grab your 4-inch by 4-inch piece of Velcro or your 2-inch by 4-inch pieces of Velcro. And let me go ahead and explain what we need to do. So the first thing that you want to do is we're going to prep out our zippers right here. So it's very important that you got your zippers cut to 8 and 5/8 of an inch. And then what you want to do is you're going to go ahead and place your zipper end with the longer side, which is going to be the 1.5 inch wide side, against the short raw end of the zipper right here. So it is going to overhang just a little bit because the zipper tape is 1.25 inches wide. We want to match up the 1.5 inch side. Go ahead and clip that into place and sew that on with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Do that for all 4 ends of your zipper tapes. Once you do that, you're going to go ahead, like I've done right here, and fold that right side out, and you're going to top stitch at 1/8 inch and do that for all 4 sides. I still need to do this side right here, which I'll do in just a moment. And then once you do that, you're going to go ahead and trim down the sides of your zipper end to make sure that it's even with the zipper tape, which I've done on this one. And I still need to go back and trim a little bit off of this one. And obviously I'll do this one as well. So that is what you need to do now. All right, the next thing that you're going to do is on your back exterior center piece, which is C, you're going to add your Velcro, if you're choosing to use Velcro on your bag, and go ahead and sew that on. You're going to position it 2 inches up from the bottom center, like I've done right here. One thing I wanted to point out is make sure that you have your back exterior center in the right position. The top is going to be slightly curved at these corners right here, whereas the bottom has a less curve. It is a little bit curved, but not as much as the top side. If you're using the two 2-inch pieces, you're just going to put a strip here and one right next to it and sew it on. I have sewn a box around mine with an X in the middle, as you can see here on the back side. If you have the 2 pieces, you're going to run 2 parallel lines right here in the center to secure them on all of the 4 sides of each piece. Now you can repeat that process if you're going to go ahead and add a Velcro to your CiCi pocket lining piece, which is I, and that is this piece right here. You'll go ahead and add an additional piece at this time. I've already done that. So the next thing that I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and just put these pieces aside, and we'll work with those in just a moment. We want to work with our zippers and our CiCi pocket to start. I'm going to start off with my CiCi pocket exterior, which I have right here. I'm just going to pause for a moment and note that you do need to go ahead and iron your CiCi pocket stabilizer to your CiCi pocket exterior, placing it 1/2 inch up from the bottom center. I forgot to show you that in the next few clips, so I wanted to point that out right now. Let's add our zippers to the CiCi pocket exterior. I have already gone ahead and added the first one, and all that I did was I placed the zipper right sides together with the left-hand side of the CiCi pocket, clipped it into place, and base stitched that with an 1/8 inch seam allowance. Do that for both sides. Okay, my zippers are now sewn on, and I did want to mention that when you close your zippers, they should both be in the same direction, which would be the up position. The CiCi pocket itself doesn't have a right or a wrong or a top or a bottom side, just making sure that both of these are in the up position when closed. And then I did insert a clip on here. I realized that I didn't show you guys how to iron on the stabilizer to the wrong side of the CiCi pocket exterior. And so I'll just show you that really quickly right now. What you want to do is you're going to go ahead and measure in 1/2 inch from the bottom straight edge of the CiCi pocket. You can draw a line, and then you're going to place your stabilizer along that line, making sure that it's centered between the edges right here. So I've already done that. All right, the next step is to add our lining. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my CiCi pocket lining, place that right sides together, sandwiching the zippers in between. And like I said, this is going to be the top because my zippers are in the up position when they are closed. So lay that on top. Go ahead and clip this down the left and the right hand side and sew this with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, that is now sewn, and I'm just going to go ahead and turn this right side out. Now go ahead and press with an iron if you'd like, or finger press, and go ahead and top stitch along both of these sides at 1/8 inch. Okay, I've top stitched along the sides right there. I also went ahead and base stitched along the top and the bottom edge to secure the exterior to the lining together. You want to go ahead and grab your back exterior center piece, and we're going to go ahead now and match up the left side of the zipper tape with the left side of the back exterior center. Clip this into place and start by matching up the bottom corner of the CiCi pocket with the bottom corner of the back exterior. You'll notice that there is going to be a little bit of overhang along the top edge right here. We'll trim that down in a moment. So go ahead and take this over to your sewing machine, and you're going to go ahead and sew this on with a 1/8 inch seam allowance. Then repeat for the opposite side, bringing the zipper tape over to meet this edge and sew that with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And that has now been sewn both sides, so this is what it's looking like. The next thing we want to do is we're going to grab our back exterior left side pattern piece E, and we are going to place that right sides together with the left side of the zipper tape right here, and we are going to go ahead and sew that on with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Again, matching up the bottom corner to start, and there will be a little bit of a gap right there that we'll trim down later. Do that for this side, and then you're going to repeat for the opposite side and pattern piece G, the back exterior right side. And now you want to go ahead and turn this right side out, and you are going to press the seams to the outside just like this. I usually like to finger press, and I'm going to go ahead now and top stitch along this folded edge right here, or I should say sewn edge right here at 1/8 inch, and repeat for this side as well, making sure that you are folding your seams outwards. Okay, I've gone ahead and top stitched down the left side and the right side. I also went ahead and just clipped my center back together with my CiCi pocket right here in the center on the top and the bottom. This is going to help me to now create my folds that are going to cover up the zippers. So if I just go ahead and start to run my hand along one of the sides right here, it's naturally going to want to go ahead and fold. So if I go ahead and lay that over, you'll see it's actually covering the zipper. So I'm going to start off by just clipping that fold itself into place, and then I'll do my measuring because I basically want my fold to be measured at 5/8 inch. So now I'm going to flip this back and show you, and we'll check our work here. So grab your ruler, and you're going to be measuring right here from this sewn edge over to this edge right here, making sure that it's at 5/8 inch, which this is. So you'll see how it naturally just wants to go ahead and fold at 5/8 inch, making your life a little bit easier. So that one is good. We're going to repeat the same process for this side. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of run my hand across and then tuck that over the zipper. And then flip that over and check and see if it's 5/8 inch. Now this one is a little bit larger. That is more of like a 1/4 inch. So I need to back this down just a little bit. That's better. And let's check this end right here. And with my zipper in the middle position, I'm just going to check and make sure that that fold is covering the zipper, and it looks perfect. Let me look at this side right here. That looks good as well. So now we just need to top stitch the fold. So we're only top stitching the fold at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So only this portion right here on both sides. Those edges have now been top stitched at a 1/4 inch, making a nice crisp edge. The next thing that we want to do with our zippers down in the middle, which we're going to keep in the middle position until we finish the bag, keep them kind of out of the way of the top here when we're attaching it to the gusset. So keep those in the middle. We're going to go ahead now and fold over the little flap here that we've created to cover the zipper itself. And we're going to go ahead and clip it here at the top edge and the bottom edge. And now we just need to go ahead and base stitch this into place with 1/8 of an inch on the top and the bottom. Okay, that is now sewn into place. So our CiCi pocket is now complete. You can take a look inside right there. And now, if need be, you can go ahead and trim the top corners right here just to make sure that they are rounded and met up properly. This one here has got a little bit more of an overhang. And our CiCi pocket is now complete. Let's move on to our front exterior. We're going to begin by constructing our slip pocket on our front exterior. Grab pattern piece F, H, and D. Place pattern piece F, the front exterior left side, right sides together with the front exterior slip pocket. Clip this into place on the left side and sew this with 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. And then repeat for the opposite side with pattern piece H. Our slip pocket's been top stitched. Now we want to go ahead and place the stabilizer J1 piece on the wrong side of your slip pocket. So go ahead and draw a line 1/2 of an inch away from the bottom edge. And then you're just going to go ahead and find the center of both your slip pocket and your slip pocket stabilizer. Center that, placing it on the line that was drawn, and go ahead and iron this into place or use your heat press. This step is now optional. After you have ironed your stabilizer to the wrong side, you can go ahead and add your bag tag. Now, bag tag placement is up to personal preference. I do provide a recommendation in the pattern to place it 1 1/4 inches down from the top center of your slip pocket. And that's also going to vary depending on the size of your bag tag. You could put it there. You could put it at the bottom corner. Another place that you could put it if you're not using a turn lock is you can go ahead and place it on the flap right there and center it there. So completely up to you. If you want to do it on the flap, you can do that later on. So let me go ahead and get this placed 1 1/4 inches down because that's where I like it for my handmade bag tag. Okay, my bag tag has now been installed. And I don't have any clear plastic to cover the handmade bag tag. I don't know what happened to it. So I'm just going to add some blue painter's tape for the moment while I'm making the bag so I don't scratch that up. So let's go ahead and set that aside. We need to work on our pocket flap now, which is pattern piece B. Both the exterior and the lining, as well as B1, which is your stabilizer. I do recommend a Decaville Heavy here for your stabilizer, or 2 layers of Decaville Light. You could also use Pell on Peltex if you'd like. Place your stabilizer 1/4 of an inch down from the straight edge right here, so your bottom straight edge. Center that and iron it into place. I've already done that. At this point, if you are installing magnetic snaps, you're going to want to do that now. I'll briefly show you what you need to do there. So grab your lining piece of your flap, as well as pattern piece B, which is your pocket flap. Match this up on top of your fabric. I've already punched the holes for where I need to place my magnetic snaps. Just transfer that over with a pen, so that way you know where to go ahead and place your washers to cut the prongs, the slits for the prongs on your magnetic snaps. I've written here on the pattern to go ahead and insert the male portion of the magnetic snap. Completely up to you if you want to use the male portion or if you want to use the female portion. That's up to personal preference. So go ahead and install your magnetic snaps at this point, but if you are doing a turn lock like me, I'll go ahead and show you what to do. After placing your magnetic snaps, if you've chosen to do that, you're going to go ahead and continue to follow along. Place your lining side of your pocket flap, right sides together with your exterior. Go ahead and clip this around the curved edge. Sew this with 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Now go ahead and trim down your seam to about 1/8 of an inch. Now go ahead and turn right side out. Once you've turned it right side out, go ahead and top stitch around the curved edge at 1/8 of an inch and base stitch the bottom closed. If you've chosen to do the turn lock, you're going to go ahead and grab pattern piece B, fold this in half, and you're going to line up the bottom center raw edge right here with the bottom corner of pattern piece B. And then here is 1/2 of an X for your turn lock placement. Grab your pen and make a little dot where that little X comes to a point. And this is where you're going to need to go ahead and install your turn lock. I've done a separate video tutorial on how to install this particular style of turn lock. I'll go ahead and put a link in the description box below. Otherwise, go ahead and follow the manufacturer's instructions on how to install your turn lock. The female portion of my turn lock has now been installed. Now we're going to attach our pocket flap to the slip pocket. So go ahead and flip this right sides together, matching the centers. Clip this into place, and you're going to go ahead and base stitch this with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Now that that's been base stitched, go ahead and grab your lining slip pocket and place that right sides together. Clip this into place and sew along the top straight edge at 1/4 of an inch. Once sewn, go ahead and turn right side out, press your seams, and then go ahead and top stitch along the straight edge at 1/8 of an inch and base stitch around the edges at 1/8 of an inch. That has been top stitched and base stitched into place. So now we're going to go ahead and work on adding our stabilizer to pattern piece A, which is our front exterior. I've already done mine. Just like before, you're going to go ahead and measure up 1/2 of an inch from this bottom straight edge. Draw a line, center your stabilizer, and iron that to secure. Next, if you chose to do magnetic snaps, you're going to go ahead and install your magnetic snaps. Grab pattern piece A and center this on your fabric. Then you're going to transfer the marks with your pen for the female magnetic snap placement. Now, if you've chosen to do the female on your flap, then you're going to do the male, or vice versa, however you've decided to do that. So go ahead now and install your magnetic snaps if you've chosen to do that. However, if you are doing the turn lock like I am, let's go ahead and make our markings for our male portion of our turn lock. So fold your pattern piece in half, match the bottom corner of pattern piece A with the bottom center of your fabric, and make sure that the top center is also matched up just like that. Now go ahead and use your pen to transfer the marking where the X point comes together. Now this is where we need to go ahead and install the male portion of our turn lock. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done. Like I said, I've done a separate video. Go ahead and check the link in the description box below if you need help installing a turn lock. All right, I've installed the male portion of my turn lock right there. And what we want to do now is we're going to take our slip pocket and lay it on top of pattern piece A, your exterior front, and base stitch around this curved edge right here at 1/8 of an inch. All right, our exterior front's complete. Let's take a peek at it without the tape on there. Isn't that luxurious looking? Love it. And here is our slip pocket inside. Let's move on to our lining. We're going to work on the lining panel that we're installing the zipper pocket in. So you are going to need your zipper pocket overlay, which is pattern piece L. You're going to need your zipper lining pocket, which is pattern piece K, your 8.5 inch zipper, and your lining panel A. And this is going to be the lining panel that needs to have the stabilizer ironed onto it. So just as before, we're going to measure in 1/2 of an inch from the bottom straight edge. Draw a line, center your stabilizer, and iron to secure. Then you want to go ahead and lay your 8.5 inch zipper on top of the short side of the zipper pocket like I've done right here. Clip it into place and base stitch with 1/8 of an inch, which I've already done. Next, you're going to bring the opposite side of the zipper pocket to meet the opposite side of the 8.5 inch zipper, making sure that the zipper itself is still remaining in the up position. Clip this into place and go ahead and sew that with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Now that that is sewn, this is what it should look like. We've got the right side inside of the tube right here. I have gone ahead and added some double-sided tape along both sides of the zipper tape. And we can go ahead and set this aside for a moment. Okay, grab your lining panel A with the stabilizer ironed onto it, and we need to go ahead and grab our zipper pocket overlay, add some double-sided tape to the wrong side like I've done right here, and we need to measure down 1.5 inches from the top center of our lining panel A, and this is where we're going to go ahead and place the top edge of our zipper overlay on the 1.5 inch line. So let me go ahead and get that done. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and take this over to the sewing machine and sew around the outside edge at 1/8 of an inch. I've sewn the overlay to our lining panel. One thing I wanted to point out is that this overlay is the same exact overlay as our acrylic templates that we sell on our website. This is our Pocket Pal, available in 4 different colors. If you already own this, then go ahead and just use your Pocket Pal to cut out your overlay. If you'd like to purchase these templates or many more on our website, shopsewyours.com. So now what we need to do is we need to trim away the quilt and cotton fabric from behind this window opening right here in the overlay. So to do that, you're going to cut a slit in the center of the fabric, making sure not to cut the overlay itself, and just go ahead and use your rotary cutter. Then you're going to flip this over, and with your scissors, you're going to start to cut away that fabric, making sure not to cut the overlay. This does not have to look good. You're not going to see this. So I'm going to go ahead and get this done. Our overlay is now complete, and that is the fabric trimmed away. Now we can go ahead and grab our zipper pocket that we prepped earlier, remove the double-sided tape from the top edge. The industry standard is to have the zipper pull to the left whenever your zipper is closed. However, if you are left-handed, you can go ahead and have the zipper pull to the right when closed, as that is going to be more ergonomic for a left-handed person, as I am myself, but I'm going to go ahead and do it by the standard method right here. So let me remove this paper backing, and then just go ahead and center the zipper in the window right here, which I'm going to go ahead and do off camera. And once I get that top secured, I'm going to go ahead and remove the paper backing from the bottom and get that secured as well. All right, there I have the zipper centered in my window. I'm going to go ahead now and stitch along this top edge of the zipper overlay at 1/8 of an inch. After I've done that, I'm going to take my pocket in the back right here, flip this to the up position, and then take this to my machine, and I'm going to go ahead and sew along this bottom edge right here. Okay, I've gone ahead and sewn the top and the bottom edge. Now we need to close up our pocket. In order to do that, we're going to go ahead and lay the lining panel over like this and sew down this side. And then we're going to go ahead and repeat for the opposite side. The sides of my pocket is now closed. I went ahead and trimmed away the excess material. And then I went ahead and also sewed the short sides here of the overlay window. If you purchase the hardware kit from me, you are going to get 2 additional rivets, which you can use or use for a future project. One place that you can use the 2 additional rivets is right here on your zipper overlay, just to add a little bit of more bling to your lining right there. So that is an option for you if you'd like to do that. So here is what our lining zipper pocket looks like. And this one is complete. Let's move on to our slip pocket. Let's work on the opposite lining panel. So you're going to need lining panel A, as well as your slip pocket lining and your slip pocket trim right here, which is pattern piece M. Let's go ahead and work with the slip pocket first. You're going to go ahead and match the short edges together. Clip the left and the right hand sides and sew this at 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Do not sew the top closed. Our slip pocket has now been sewn with the opening here. Go ahead and trim the bottom corners of your slip pocket so that way we're removing that extra bulk. So when we turn it right side out, we can get a nice sharp corner. Turn this right side out and poke out your corners. Feel free to go ahead and take this over to your iron to press it flat. Okay, my slip pocket has been turned right side out. I also went ahead and base stitched close the top raw edge right here. Grab your slip pocket trim and draw a line down the length of the center of the slip pocket trim. Add a strip of double-sided tape. You can add a strip to both sides of the line if you prefer. Remove the paper backing from the tape, and then you're going to go ahead and lay the raw edge here along the line that you've drawn. Now you're going to go ahead and fold this over to bind that edge. Take this over to your sewing machine and sew this on with 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. There is my trim sewn on. Now we can go ahead and add this to our lining panel, placing it 2 inches down from the top center. So I'm going to go ahead and measure that and make sure that this is centered. I'll take it over to my sewing machine and I'm going to sew around the left, bottom, and the right side at 1/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to divide my pocket down the middle. You can divide your pocket however you wish. Okay, my slip pocket is now sewn into place. I did want to point out that whenever you are dividing your pocket into half or thirds or however you're doing it, start sewing from the bottom edge up towards the top edge. That way you don't get any puckering. All right, let's go ahead and recap what we've done. We have our exterior front complete, our exterior back, which is our CiCi pocket complete. We have the lining panel with the zipper pocket complete, and our lining panel with our slip pocket complete. All right, moving on to our zipper panel, you're going to need to get your front zipper panel, which is pattern piece P, the exterior and your lining. Go ahead and grab your main zipper with your zipper pull or pulls already installed on it. And then grab your back zipper panel Q piece, both your exterior and your lining, as well as pattern piece Q1. We're going to begin by working with the front zipper panel and our zipper. So let's put the lining aside for the moment. And what you want to do here is you're going to go ahead and match up the right sides together, your zipper with the front zipper panel. Clip this into place and sew down here with 1/8 of an inch base stitch. Now that we've sewn that together, it's time to place our lining on top of the wrong side of the zipper. So our lining is going to be face down. And repeat the same process, this time sewing with 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, turn right side out to expose the zipper. And go ahead and clip the exterior and the lining together. And then come in and you're going to go ahead and top stitch along this edge at 1/8 of an inch. That has now been top stitched, and I also went ahead and base stitched along the outside raw edge right here. Now you're going to go ahead and grab your back zipper panel and your stabilizer, which is Q and Q1. We're going to go ahead and put the lining aside for the moment. And here you're going to go ahead and draw a line 1/4 of an inch away from one of the long raw edges and place your stabilizer, which I've done. Once you do that, you're going to go ahead and place that side that has the 1/4 of an inch right here along the opposite side of the zipper tape, matching right sides together. Clip this into place and sew this with 1/8 of an inch base stitch. Now we're going to go ahead and place our lining like we just did with the opposite side and sew this on with 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Turn right side out and top stitch just like you did with the front zipper panel. Once you've top stitched, go ahead and base stitch along the outside edge like I've done right here. Our zipper panel is now complete. Let's move on and build our handle. And now we're going to go ahead and start working on our handle and our handle overlay. So go ahead and grab your handle, which is pattern piece N. Draw a line down the center and apply double-sided tape along both sides of the line. Now, if you are going to work with quilting cotton here, you can go ahead and just make your handle just like you do your 1-inch wide crossbody strap like here, because that'll give you the extra structure that you need and you won't have any exposed raw edges. So just go ahead and cut your cotton fabric like you did your handle and construct that. So I'm going to remove the paper backing from the double-sided tape and fold in the raw edges to meet the center line. Once I've done that, I'm going to come in and I'm going to go ahead and top stitch along both sides at 1/4 of an inch. All right, there is my handle top stitched at 1/4 of an inch on both sides. Okay, now we're going to work on our handle overlay. I've done a little prep work here on my handle overlay. As a reminder, I'm using quilting cotton for mine, so sit tight if you're using a non-fraying fabric such as cork or vinyl. So let me explain what I've done here for those using cotton. I went ahead and drew a line 1 inch away from the raw edge right here, which you can't see at the moment. Then I went ahead and folded the raw edge to meet that 1-inch line that I drew. I pressed it with my iron and then I came in and I top stitched at 1/8 of an inch. So that is where I'm at right now with the cotton fabric. This basically puts us at the same point as if you were working with vinyl. So the next step that you want to do is you're going to draw a line, and this is for everybody. You're going to draw a line 1 inch away from both of the short raw edges, and then go ahead and apply some double-sided tape against that line that you drew. You're also going to go ahead and draw a line 3/4 of an inch away from this long raw edge right here and apply a strip of double-sided tape. Remove the paper backing from your double-sided tape and then fold in that short raw edge to meet the 1-inch line drawn. If you are using cotton fabric, you can go ahead and just press this with your iron and you don't have to use double-sided tape. Okay, the next step is going to be to find the center of your handle overlay in the center of your handle. I've already done that. You may not be able to see my little markings here. I went ahead and did that for both sides of the handle. And then I applied a strip of double-sided tape along the center of the handle, only the width of the actual handle overlay itself. So what I do is I just go ahead and center both of these pieces together, and then I apply my double-sided tape. From here, you can remove the paper backing from the double-sided tape on your handle, and this is the right side of the handle. You're going to flip this so the wrong side is up, match up the center line that you made the marking on your overlay with the center line on your handle, and you're going to go ahead and place that edge right along that line you drew. Okay, from here, remove the paper backing from this strip of double-sided tape and fold over this around your handle. Now we need to do one more strip of double-sided tape along this edge right here. Now we have no raw edges showing on our cotton fabric. So now we can take this over to our sewing machine, and we are going to sew along the outside edge at 1/8 of an inch, so the long and the short sides. And then we're going to do 2 parallel lines of stitching down the length of the handle at 1/4 of an inch. The handle and overlay is now complete. The next thing that you want to do is you're going to measure in from this short raw edge right here, 1.5 inches, and you're going to draw a line. Then you're going to measure in again at 2.5 inches and 3.5 inches and make markings. Not sure if you can see that on camera. Then you're going to repeat the same thing for the other side. 1.5, 2.5, and 3.5. This is going to tell us where we need to do our stitching. Go ahead and grab your previously constructed zipper panel and go ahead and lay your handle on top, matching up the short raw edges right here. We are going to go ahead and place the edge of the handle, so this edge right here, about 1/4 of an inch away from this sewn edge right here. I just eyeball it. I make sure that it is away from the stitching mark right here, the top stitching, and there's about 1/8 of an inch gap between there, and that usually is about sufficient. So I've gone ahead and done that, and I'm going to clip this into place. And then I'm still eyeballing it to make sure that it's even over here. You can certainly use a ruler if you want to get it precise. Now, if you don't have long quilting clips like this, you can come in with some double-sided tape along the wrong side of your handle right here and apply that to help keep it into place, or just use your hands when you're at your sewing machine. Repeat the process for this side. This is going to create that bump out, so that way you have a location for your hand to go ahead and grab on. So let's go ahead now, and we're going to take this over to our sewing machine, and we are going to start stitching on the 3.5 inch line. So I'm going to go ahead and sew down this line. I'm going to sew 1/8 of an inch away from the edge of the handle, stopping at the 2.5 inch line right here, and then pivoting back along the length of the handle right here at 1/8 of an inch away to create a box. I'm going to do the same thing for this side of the handle. Okay, my boxes have now been sewn on both ends. Now go ahead and grab your D-rings. You're going to slide your D-ring all the way up to that stitching that you just did, which is at the 2.5 inch mark. And you're going to go ahead and re-clip this edge right here. Repeat for the opposite side. Now take this over to your sewing machine, and you're going to now start to stitch on the 1.5 inch marking and down the length of the handle at 1/8 of an inch, back over this short raw edge right here and back up, and do that for both sides. Okay, the last box here has been sewn on both sides, and then I went in and I added a rivet in the center of this box right here, and a rivet just beneath the 1.5 inch stitching right here. And I did that for both sides. That is completely optional, but it does add a little bit more structure to your handle if you decide to go ahead and add the rivets. Now it's time to go ahead and get our gusset prepped, which I've already done, so let me explain what I did. You are going to work with your gusset, which is pattern piece R, your gusset stabilizer R1, and your bottom stabilizer R2. Go ahead and iron the stabilizer at 1/2 of an inch down away from this center long raw edge right here, which I've already done. And then you're going to go ahead and center your bottom stabilizer on top of that and iron or press to secure. The next thing that you want to do is, if you are doing purse feet like me, you are going to grab pattern piece R2, lay that on top of your bottom stabilizer piece. And with your pen, you're going to go ahead and transfer the markings that are on the pattern piece right here, which you'll need to cut the holes out. And that is where you're going to place all of your purse feet. You can do 4 purse feet or 5 if you'd wish, or no purse feet at all. I have already installed my purse feet by punching holes in my fabric and then putting the purse feet through. And I added my washer, opened the prongs, and then I just add some tape to this side to protect the fabric, the prongs from rubbing through to the fabric on the opposite side. So our gusset now is all prepped and ready to go, and we just now need to go ahead and grab our zipper panel that we constructed earlier. We are going to go ahead and match up these short raw edges right here, making sure that we have the zipper panel and the gusset right sides together. Go ahead and clip this into place and do a base stitch at 1/4 inch. Once you've base stitched that into place, you're going to go ahead and grab your gusset lining right here. Place that right sides together with the zipper panel sandwiched in between, and clip this into place and sew this at a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Make sure that you trim down the seam right here to about 1/8 inch. Once that's been sewn, turn right side out. And you're going to go ahead and open up your seams nice and flat here and come in and top stitch at 1/4 inch. Then you're going to repeat the same process for the opposite side, bringing the exterior zipper panel and gusset right sides together. Clip that into place and base stitch with 1/4 inch. Then you're going to go ahead and place the lining right sides together here, and go ahead and sew that with a 3/8 inch. Turn right side out, top stitch. So let me get all of that done. Once you have top stitched the sides, go ahead and clip your gusset lining and exterior together and come in and base stitch along the edge at 1/8 inch on both raw edges. All right, my gusset's now been constructed. Now you want to go ahead and place your exterior front wrong sides together with your lining panel that has the slip pockets in it. Go ahead and base stitch around the outside edge at 1/8 inch. Repeat the same process for your exterior back and your lining panel with the zipper pocket. Okay, go ahead and find the top and bottom centers of your gusset on both sides if you haven't already done so, matching up those side seams right there and pinching it and clipping a notch here. Do that for the top, the bottom, and the opposite sides. Grab your exterior front panel, and you're going to go ahead and turn your gusset wrong side out. We want to match our front zipper panel right here, which is the narrower one, with the front of our exterior. Now, it's a good idea at this point to go ahead and clip your flap down and out of the way and match right sides of your front zipper panel with your exterior front, matching up the top center. Then go ahead and match up the bottom center. I'm going to continue to clip the gusset to the front exterior, starting at the left top, the right top, then I'm going to do the bottom left and the bottom right, and then around the sides. All right, I've gone ahead now and clipped all of that into place. Now, if you need to, which you probably don't have to on this bag, is you can clip some notches along the raw edge of your gusset where the curves are. But in my experience, I haven't had to do that on any of the ones I've made. And from hearing from our pattern testers, they haven't had to do so either. So if you need to do that, let me show you on this side right here what I mean. So this is the curved portion of the bag. So if I needed to for this side, I would just come in and cut some notches about 1/4 inch in from that raw edge to help ease it around the corners. And so that would only be if it is too tight and the gusset's not fitting. But I don't think you're going to have to do that with this bag. Now I'm going to go ahead and take this over to the sewing machine, and I am going to go ahead and start stitching along the bottom center and around the outside of the bag right here at 3/8 inch. All right, I have now sewn that on. From this point, you can go ahead and turn it right side out and check that your seams are good and there's no puckering if you'd like. I've already done that. Now we're going to go ahead and attach our binding. So I am using waterproof canvas. All I do with waterproof canvas is kind of hand fold it into half right here. as I go. If you are using another binding technique, go ahead and search YouTube. You should be able to find a video on how to use the different types of binding, such as double fold bias tape. I find that this is the easiest, along with fold over elastic. So I'm just going to go around the bag and fold this in half and clip it into place. There is my binding clipped into place. Now go ahead and sew this on with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. I do recommend changing your thread color to match your binding. Okay, my binding is now finished on the front side. So now we're going to repeat the same exact process that we just did to attach our back exterior to the back side of our bag. So I'm going to clip this into place, sew this with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, add my binding, and sew that on with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Make sure that you have your zipper open, that way you can turn the bag. All right, I've got both sides attached and bound. Now comes the fun part, revealing all of your hard work. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this right side out. Here is my CiCi Defender all finished. I love how she turned out. And here is the CiCi compartment right there. If you are keeping CiCi for yourself, go ahead and remove any plastic film from your hardware, attach your crossbody strap, and you are done. If you're going to be giving away your CiCi or you are going to be selling it, I recommend leaving that film on, and the new owner can go ahead and remove that themselves. Let me go ahead and show you what she looks like wearing her crossbody. And here is my CiCi Defender wearing her crossbody. As a reminder, just to point out the benefits of the CiCi pocket on the back of the bag, this allows you to go ahead and have your hand inside of the back pocket discreetly. Should you want to be walking to your car, you want to have a little bit of extra layer of protection right there, just in case something might happen. So that is a great benefit of the CiCi Defender. If you don't want to go ahead and use that back pocket for any personal protection, and maybe you are going to be using this bag for traveling, it's great because you can store your wallet, your passport, or any other important items closest to your body without anybody really noticing, and you're not having to worry about getting pickpocketed. Or if you want, you can just store candy in that back pocket. And especially if you grab those locking zipper pulls, then your kids are not going to be able to access your stash. So that is an option for you as well. I am going to be offering this pattern as a bundle discount from August 1st to August 7th, along with the Kiki crossbody. So go ahead and take advantage of that discount. If you decide to go ahead and purchase one pattern and then purchase the other pattern a little bit later, I will not be providing any discounts. So go ahead and grab that bundle now. And don't forget to go ahead and snag 1 or 2 hardware kits while you are picking up your pattern. We have them available in 5 different finishes. That way you can go ahead and get all of the hardware that you need to make your CiCi Defender. We also have the zipper tape, the acrylic templates, and other items that I mentioned in the video today available for purchase on the website. Please stop by our Facebook group and share photos of your completed CiCi Defender. We love to see what you make with our patterns. Well, now that I've sewn mine, it's time to sew yours.